Hello and welcome to Some of My Friends Read Comics. We've got Chris.
Barking at you until you stop talking.
We've got Kimberly.
I never freeze.
And we've got Marselles.
Oh great, you brought me another broken white man to fix.
I messed up.
And we have Bruce, apparently. I'm your host, Vince. Kia couldn't make it today, and you might be thinking, we don't actually have a normal episode this week, but we're actually going to be covering the Black Panther movie Spoilercast. So we've got special guests, Kimberly and Marselles. We've also got me, and we've got regular host Chris. So I hope you enjoy this. We're just going to be talking about the Black Panther movie, and we'll get back to our regularly scheduled program next week with Black Panther and Storm join the Fantastic Four, which will be very cool. So let's...
This very special episode of...
Well, February is the month of love, so we're just talking about like Valentine's Day and love and She-Hulk and Black Panther. And Bruce is going to come and talk about Black Panther possibly also with us. So hopefully not too much. So let's just get started talking about this movie. This movie starts with a very Lion King, everything the light touches type scene.
Yes, yay indeed.
So it's all, I'm on my way, I'm not early,
it's not
A lot of parallels to the Lion
T'Chaka
King.
raises T'Challa up to the,
A lot of parallels to the Lion King in this movie.
I thought it was T'Challa talking to T'Chaka, his father, but I didn't realize that scene actually is Michael B. Jordan talking to his dad, the guy from This Is Us, Sterling K. Brown. But it was a very cool scene. Very cool scene.
Can we talk about how hot Michael B. Jordan is before we even get into this?
I guess we can.
Sure.
It kind of seems kind of a weird way. He's a child in this scene, so.
But I'm
I
saying,
think
just
she
in
means
general.
adult Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
His hair is
I
on
know
point.
my first thought when he came on screen, and of course he takes his shirt off because that's what he's supposed to do. I was like, wow, he's really, really, really swole.
Was he swole in
really,
Creed?
He was like fit,
Yeah.
but it was more like boxer fit. This one, he was just, I wanted to go for mass, bro. I just wanted to be huge and menacing. And I was
Yeah,
like,
he's got those glam muscles.
I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Even T'Challa was looking at him like,
Damn.
dude, I'm kind of frightened. He's going to kick my ass.
He's big, and I actually the first scene we see him. Well, let's not skip past this. So the movie actually begins in Los Angeles, or not Los Angeles, Oakland of the early '90s, right?
Yes.
Good old
Wait.
Oaktown.
Which I thought was really cool. I was not expecting this. Like these movies, Marvel movies, are not known for surprising you.
Yeah.
I have to say, I was surprised when the first scene was set in Oakland. I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
The birthplace of the Black Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're so trained for these Marvel movies where you see the movie open somewhere and immediately I start thinking, how does this connect to everything else?
Yes.
What does this mean? Is Captain America going to show up in a cameo or is a young Tony Stark going to be somewhere there? Or what's going to happen?
Is a de-aged Michael Douglas going to show up and beat an aged
I know,
up
yeah. Is he gonna be all
Agent
fucking
Carter
like
and
him, just like spying in the room.
That's cool
And
because we don't know what's going on in the Marvel in the 90s. We've seen like the post World War II. We've seen the 2000s, obviously.
Well, Tony Stark's parents die in like 91. I think we saw that in Civil War.
Right, that's true.
And I think isn't Captain Marvel take place all in the 90s?
Yeah, it's supposed to. I believe
Is
so.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That'll answer my questions about what's going on in the 90s.
It is weird to think that like 1992 is the past, like the real past. But I mean, it's 25 years ago, so I guess that makes sense. But it's still kind of just like weird to me to think that that's like, this is a period scene.
Right.
Yeah. There are people who are watching this who weren't alive.
Oh, Jesus.
Right. Captain Marvel's going to go watch Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
So, I everything about like Michael B. Jordan though, I really love this whole scene. I think this scene is really cool. Sterling K. Brown though, this guy got me in all the feels like several times. And oh yeah, this is a spoiler podcast by the way. I don't know if we said that. Spoiler. We're gonna talk all about the movie. But Sterling K. Brown, I haven't watched This Is Us, so maybe he makes me cry. Like he'll make me cry if I watch that show. But the scene when he has the flashback, like later when he has Michael B. Jordan has his vision, and Sterling K. Brown's like, "Aren't you sad that I'm dead?" And young Michael B. Jordan's like, everybody dies. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm not sad that you're dead. And I'm like, oh. And the dad is just like kind of crying. They're like, you don't even give a shit that your dad died. Like, that got me in all the feels. This movie, everything, a lot of the bad guys made me cry in this. Like Michael B. Jordan's like final lines, that got me. Man,
well, and I really like the introduction of, this character at the beginning where the previous Black Panther, the initial Black Panther before T'Challa becomes Black Panther, comes in and is talking to him, and it's immediately sort of setting the stage for this, like, idealistic, like, we just need to take isolationist, like, we need to sort of just take care of ourselves, and you're just here to do something specific, and him being like, no, dude, shit's fucked up out here. Like, we can't just live in this, like, fantasy land forever. Like real things are happening. We need to help people.
Right. But at the same time, when we see them, we see Sterling K. Brown and young Forest Whitaker planning what looks like a bank heist, and then they're like, oh, somebody's here, and like they hide their guns and like their plans for robbing whatever, and then when it shows up, it's like this is part of his larger plan to like liberate people, but it's still kind of like, well, it's kind of ambiguous what's going on. And then there's kind of a reveal because he's like, hey, I'm your brother, I would never betray you. He's like, well, actually, this random friend you made in Los Angeles or in Oakland is actually works for me, so we know it's you.
Do you think I only sent one spy from Wakanda? Like, oh snap! Oh. Now when they were in the I guess in the apartment, and they were preparing, and when you first see the scene, you're like, oh, okay, these are a bunch of. And this is unfortunately, I guess, the stereotype of black people in cinema that there's been, even the black guys expecting them to be gang members and to be gang banging, and like. For some reason, Black Panther show up to kick their ass. And I'm like, why would he show up in Oakland, California to kick people's ass? I don't. But and then he turns out he's the prince of Wakanda, and I was like, oh, I'm surprised. Yeah. I'm pleasantly surprised. Okay, and they think they're trying to be social warriors and free the rest of the world and have them have the same freedoms as Wakanda. So I thought that was really fascinating.
Right. And then he kills his brother when he makes a move on Forest Whitaker. And we see the kids playing the basketball game. They see basically like a UFO fly away. Like they just see like, flashing lights. And it's unclear like what it is. Doesn't really look like a helicopter. It's not 1991 technology. And then young Michael B. Jordan realizes like some shit has gone down because he knows about Wakanda.
Yeah, we don't know that it's young Michael B. Jordan at this point, though.
But he's like a 10-year-old or not even 10, I'd say like 8-year-old who freaks out.
Yeah.
Well, the other kids are like, what's going on?
Yeah, I also do really just like, before we move on from this scene, I really like how young Forest Whitaker knows all about Wakanda, but still doesn't. So he has to be like, these ladies who look like Grace Jones are rolling up in here. Like, he has to pretend that he doesn't know.
Like he knows the Dora Milaje, right?
Yeah. Yeah, very smooth. I also like, we don't see it in this scene so much. I didn't realize, I assume it's the actor or makeup doing the work, but later Forest Whitaker like flashes back to this scene, and the guy playing Forest Whitaker is doing the like lazy eye.
Yeah.
Like, that is dedication to a craft, my friend. Either that is some great makeup, or he really was focusing real hard to make his eye go lazy. It's for Wakanda.
It was pretty good. I was like, oh, I appreciate that. I didn't notice it in the first scene, but then when they were cutting back and forth to him as a kid and him as an old man, I was like, oh yeah, he's doing it.
So next what happens is we cut to Black Panther in the present day, which is after Captain America Civil War. And he basically stops some, I guess, slave traders or something going on, and Lupita Nyong'o is in the car, and she saves the day against Black Panther, because Black Panther does a pretty good job and is pretty badass. And here, what I really like about this movie is that Black Panther's good, but he's also still getting his ass saved by Okoye, his general, and Lupita Nyong'o, Nakia. Or Nakia.
What does Okoye say to him? Hey, she tells him, don't freeze. Like, you're going to freeze as soon as you see her. He's like, I will not freeze. And as soon as he sees her, that's exactly what he does. And she's like, and his little sister's like, did he freeze?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course he did.
Yeah, I
Of course
love
he
how
did.
all three of them are like, man, Black Panther's kind of dumb sometimes. I think it's very cute. Like they're dynamic against him. Like he's like, he's presented as like this cool like badass who is never flawed. But then they're all like, he froze. That's what he did.
Yeah, well, they portray him as this, hyper intelligent, athletic, great man with his, PhDs and all these, combat skills. And his sister and his mom and his leader of his guard are like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's such a like a real to life dynamic, right? Like, like a lot of the like sisters and moms, in my life, like they always, mess with their kid or their brother. Or
I have two sisters, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what that dynamic is like. Like the scene after he gets coronated, and he's going down to the lab with the technology and everything, and he's checking out what's the
Q lab.
The sister's name?
Shuri.
What she's coming up with, and she sees his sandals. She's like, "What are those?" And he's wearing these like throwback like just sandals. He's like, "I thought I wanted to be traditional." She's like, "Whatever, dude."
Yeah, but
Here, let me show you these.
I will use them. They're silent. They're for sneaking. I will call them sneakers.
Yeah.
I love her. She was great.
Simpsons did that joke, so
I thought this whole scene was like I'm just like I'm watching. This is a James Bond movie at this point, and I love it. Sure,
it really was. It literally had the like dummy where like something happens to the dummy. It's like that is literally in the scene.
I like.
Well, and I was kind of like, I really liked how he came to get her to tell her the whole mission was to tell her, I really need you here, like off this mission because, I'm going to go be coronated and I really want you to be there. And it's sort of him like asking her to be there, like for an important date almost, like it's like kind of like a promposal,
Yeah.
in some ways.
There was that awkwardness there. He was like, I don't know if you're busy or nothing. I mean, I know you're rescuing slave girls and stuff, but I mean, I'm going to be like crown king.
I mean, if
you want to come, I mean, you don't have to, but
I do love that this was like the first. I mean, this movie is like rolling up. Like, there's a lot of like America first undertones with Wakanda in here, and Nakia at this point is like saying, no, like that's stupid. Like, we need to open our borders. Like, we can support more refugees. Like, we don't have to. They're like, because Watabi, his friend, is like, well, they'll take from us, and then we'll lose part of who we are. And they're like, no. Nakia's like, no, we can handle this. And I really like that kind of like undercurrent. I was pretty surprised that Marvel was doing this in a movie.
Right. That's his friend is Daniel Kaluuya from Get Out.
Yeah. It took me forever to figure out who he was because I was like, this guy's eyes are like so expressive. It took me forever to figure out like, oh, it's the Get Out guy.
Yes.
Academy and.
But I was also like, this is kind of presumptuous. He's like, stop whatever important work you're doing because I need you to come be my date for something.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
maybe that leads to his, way he was brought up, where he just was, the Prince of Wakanda.
Exactly.
And he's groomed to be this king, so he figured everyone could just stop what they're doing.
Yeah, and I loved how
about his wins whenever he wanted.
Yeah, and how she wasn't immediately like falling over herself. She's like, "What are you talking about? Is that like that is not important? Like, get it together, dude."
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I loved when his sister was giving him crap about everything. She's like, "Whatever, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're still dumb."
Yeah, I thought like they could have made the choice to have like Shuri be like a mopey teen about her dad dying or something, because she doesn't really even address that her dad's dead. But I like the character so much, it really doesn't bother me.
In my headcanon, you could say that she's just being glib as a defense mechanism against it, as a teenager might be. So. I'm okay with that.
But I also loved, like, I feel like I know a lot of teenagers like her who have that sort of, like, enthusiasm and, like, they're ready to, like, take on the world and they're excited about things. And she was kind of a, like, a nerd, in that, like, oh, and then I discovered this and then I discovered that. And, just, starting off on all these cool things. So I really liked that about her.
She portrays that teenage energy and hopefulness really well.
Yeah.
Like, well, you know what? The way it is now isn't working. And I've got the ability to change things and make things happen. Let's do that. Let's get on that. Why aren't we?
Yeah.
She was asking all those questions where people, who are older are just like, nah, it is that way because it's always been that way.
Yeah. I wish, and this is a very minor nitpick, I wish we'd seen a little bit more because we see like her she's like, oh, I improved the Black Panther suit in these ways, blah, blah, blah. I wish we'd seen a little bit more about how she had actually improved the lives of like the people of Wakanda with this stuff.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that should be like the primary thing. And then like Black Panther, like you're the defender of the country. You're like our representative for everything. But so you get like half or whatever. But then half of this needs to be like, oh, like check out this new school like thing we have. This is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like that it's purely or seemingly just to help like vigilante activities.
Well, I mean, later with Everett Ross, like she shows how she made the sound blaster things.
For the train, yeah.
Yeah, which then, this movie does a really good job of seeding its Act 3, like Chekhov's guns in fun ways, like the trains, and explaining how it works to Everett Ross, and showing that there are multiple Black Panther suits, which makes it obvious later that Michael B. Jordan will be able to get a suit. Or what was it else? Like Watabi, his friend, is like tending to the rhino. So the second he pulls out that horn, I'm like, oh, there's going to be some fucking rhinos here. Like, I know it. I like the way that it seeds there. But yeah, you're right, Chris. But at the same time, like all of her technology that she does is in service of the plot in a weird way. And not just extra like character traits, but it could have helped benefit. Like this is all the stuff in Wakanda that we could have shared with the world that we chose not to.
But because she was so focused on the weapons, it did also like continue to feel like a James Bond movie, right? Like he was coming in, and here was the tech person like giving him his fun gadget.
She's cute, and she's like, "Here, try these sneakers, try this new suit. What are you gonna do? Every time there's a problem, let me go get my helmet and put it on." She's like, "No, I got a better idea." So I was like, "Oh, sweet." She's like, "This is the Q portion of the movie."
Yeah. 007, that's my lunch. There's none of that.
Classics GoldenEye scene. But yeah, that's one of my minor nitpicks. My other minor nitpick is that Wakanda, like, they show the like CGI skyline, and I'm like, why does this look like Pittsburgh or something? Like, why are there so many like 1920s high rises that they are like obviously CGI? I'm like, you could build a city that doesn't look like this. Like, I like that Thor doesn't have like, oh, it's like check out this like 60-story bank. Like, there's no reason to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I get
it's just people expect what futuristic things are supposed to look like, so they're like, hey, tall buildings. Skyscrapers, shiny stuff. Let's shove it all in there. And then we'll add like some old rustic, dilapidated shacks to make it look like, oh, it's mixed culture. Yeah, it's
right.
Traditional Africa with like technology.
Because the whole movie takes place either at the palace or like there's some scenes in the market, and then there's some scenes on a big field near the palace.
No, that was Georgia.
Yeah, well, yes.
It was Georgia. I mean, that's where they filmed a lot of the movie.
Yes.
I did love the look of the room where they're having their council meetings. Like, it felt very, I don't know, Star Wars-y to me. Mm-hmm. Sort of like the council of the different people, the different tribes, and with sort of a futuristic looking kind of thing. I really liked it.
Right. Yeah, and I did like that. I don't even remember if the Jabari tribe, like being the outsiders, is established canon. I don't remember that. Maybe it is.
Manape is an established character that he plays.
Well, yes.
Which is a name they did not use.
Can I say he was great?
Yeah.
He was fantastic.
His humor was awesome.
My favorite character in the movie.
If you talk again, I will have my dogs eat you alive. Just kidding. We're vegetarian.
That was the thing, though.
He's laughing at his own joke. I
love it. I love. I was telling Kimberly after I saw it, I love the aspect of kung fu movies when they have like, and then this is the monkey tribe, and then this is the rhino tribe, and then this is the jaguar tribe, and they're all gonna fight at the end, and they all have their own colors. I don't know why I really like that plot point, like in movies. I was just like, here's the rhino guys, and they're all dressed in blue, and then the Jabari, and they have the monkey, and they're gonna show up. I love that for some reason. It's one of my favorite things in movies. It makes me really excited.
Yeah, it's color coordinated for your ease.
Viewing
keep
pleasure.
Track of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen a little movie called The Warriors, Vince? You might like it.
I need to see The Warriors.
God.
I still.
Oh my God!
The Warriors.
Oh, I did get. I did train Bruce.
Count, Vince?
I did train Bruce to start saying "come out and play," yay! Even though I haven't seen the movie. I do have the PS2 game. That doesn't count, though, does it?
No, you gotta watch that movie. It's amazing. It's so good. If you like gangs of like-minded people with a theme, it's the best movie.
Into it.
I'll put that down on the list. The Warriors.
Yeah.
Starring
And,
Dexter's dad.
You made me watch Die Hard 5 again.
We never even did that podcast, did we,
Never did that
Marselles?
podcast, and I watched it. I'm like, why?
And speaking of really good messages, like the Warriors has a really good message where minor spoiler alert, I guess. If you played the PS2 game, you probably know that the leader of the gangs, what is it, Cyrus? He wants to unite them and says basically, like, hey, we can actually influence at least citywide change. So it's a good time to go visit adult Michael B. Jordan at the museum where he and Andy Serkis are looking at art.
Yeah, we are moving slow through this movie. A lot happened, certainly. That was a cool scene. Although at the first I was like, this actress is hogging her coffee way too hard. I did not think it looked like that actress had never held a cup of coffee in her life.
I was her first major Hollywood role. She's like, I don't want to screw this up. I'm in a Marvel movie.
I gotta be on top of this shit.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I'm going to just really grope this coffee cup.
But I did like after living in England. Yeah, after living in England and going to their museums, I'm like, this is really cool that y'all have all this shit, but y'all stole it all, right? So I was glad to see somebody point that out in a major motion picture. How much?
Yes. She saw this was discovered here. This was found here. He's like, no, it wasn't. This is from here, and y'all stole it.
Yep.
She's like,
you need to leave.
I'm sorry for my colonial oppressors.
She didn't even apologize. She was like, guards, come get this man.
They had these
Right, well,
they had
Guards, we have a black man questioning
Exactly. We can't be having this happening.
So y'all been monitoring me this whole time. Yeah, England has these like Cleopatra era like obelisks that last, for thousands of years in Egypt. And they brought them to England and lined the Thames River with them. And they of course like completely like whittled away, and all like the inscriptions on them whittled away like in 100 years because fucking England's humid. And like I'm like, God damn it, England, y'all wreck everything. Like y'all are almost as bad as Americans.
Yeah, they gave one to New York too, or maybe Egypt gave us one.
I don't think Egypt gave it willingly, but
New York has an obelisk that's all worn away.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when they give stuff to, third world
Colonizers.
countries give stuff to first world countries. We just wear them out.
Yep.
Go figure.
But I do really like the scene, and this is a good look. We talked about how good Michael B. Jordan looks shirtless. This is a good look for him where he's got his glasses on, and it's kind of like a more like scholarly look. Where I've seen some like fan art of him in this outfit. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Well, and then him like speaking about like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Here it is. And like, he's fucking smart.
Yeah.
You're like, damn, hello.
He was smart, but then of course he had that street, upbringing where he was just like, he could go hood in a minute on
Yes.
you, but then bring it back and just outthink you. Like, oh, all right. I like this guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think he was the first villain, I think, in a Marvel movie I've seen that I actually was kind of rooting for. I mean,
Oh, for sure.
he was kind of right.
He was right.
I mean, he had a
Yeah.
point.
It's literally like not since Magneto, which is not technically a Marvel villain, are you like, well, yeah, he makes some good points, frankly.
yeah, another Eric spelled with a K, huh?
Oh,
It's
Oh, I didn't think about that.
yeah, it's
true though.
It's very, very Magneto-ish. Read a lot of think pieces about that. Yeah, him and Michael Keaton are the two most recent Marvel villains. I'm like, yeah, I'm totally with you. I mean, we don't need to murder everybody for it, but I'm with you, and I kind of want your plan to succeed. I kind of do.
Yeah.
And I mean, even though, spoilers, he dies, I think he does succeed because he convinces T'Challa to open up Wakanda's borders and, to share the technology with the world and be like, hey, look, we can help. Let us in. We're going to do our thing.
Yeah. He was a major catalyst for change.
Yeah.
Like huge.
Yeah, I was telling Kimberly, I was like, I don't think I've seen like a superhero villain transform the hero's like worldview that much, except in this movie. You know what I'm saying? Like Black Panther's journey is to think more like the villain. Like that's his arc. It is really weird, but I really like that. He convinces him, in a lot of things. I mean, not to the point of like murdering everybody, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, Thor grows, and, like, I really liked Thor Ragnarok, how he's basically like, I've outgrown you, Loki. Like, you're not my nemesis anymore. Like, I have my own shit. And then Loki's kind of has to adapt to the fact that he's like, oh, like, it's a little brother syndrome where it's like, look, I don't have time for you anymore.
Yeah. Look, man, I got to save, like, our realm, and I got these things going on. I just don't have time to think about you. But bros.
Yeah, I really liked that. I thought that was really sweet, and I liked how Loki was kind of able. It meant both characters were able to grow. But I think you're right that no other Marvel movie. I mean, because like Iron Man never changes, like Captain America never really changes. Like most of the Marvel heroes kind of are who they are, and so Black Panther kind of changing was really cool. And also, I mean, this movie does such a better job than other Marvel movies of like Killmonger. I mean, that's his name. Michael B. Jordan. He has a plan and like he does it. Like it works.
Well, and that's what blew my mind. It's like I had when he threw T'Challa off of the waterfall, I'm like, I have no idea where this movie's going now. I have no idea where they're going.
When he came in and challenged him, I was like, oh, okay, he's gonna like get to the verge of beating him, that he's gonna lose, and he's gonna like do like what villains do and
like
sneak
run
in
away,
the lab and steal the suit,
sneak off,
and then come back for the final fight later. And he went in there and he just tore T'Challa a new asshole. Yeah. It was like, oh, okay, that's wow. and like you said, Vince, when he throws him off the cliff, I'm like, whoa,
and
that was the shortest kingdom ever.
Well, and then I'm watching it and I'm having like flashbacks to the election because like all the characters there at the waterfall are like, oh fuck, what do we do now? Like we report to like a madman. like some people are like, we need to get the fuck out. Like his family's just like, we gotta run. Just
look on every Hillary Clinton's follower's face.
Like what the fuck just happened?
They told us this wasn't gonna happen. What happened? What am I watching right now?
Yeah.
And Okoye is like, we haven't talked much about Okoye, but she's fucking awesome. But she's like, I'm fucking sticking around here. He's my king. That's what I do now. And I love her. She's one of my favorite characters in this whole movie. She's the baddest bitch in this whole movie, and I love her.
Oh, she's dopeness, man.
Oh,
they when they went undercover, like we didn't know they were all like pimping from Wakanda.
Yeah, in South Korea, a bunch of black people just walking around.
Suave looking black folks.
Come on.
With 3-piece suits and like dresses, and you're like, really? Come on.
You guys are super inconspicuous.
She's complaining about having to wear a wig. I was like, wow, she enjoyed being bald. It's like, I'm bald, I'm black, I'm beautiful.
That's right.
I don't care.
And I don't have time for this bullshit nonsense.
And she's like, she's undercover, and then she's like, I'm made. Sorry, I got to kill everybody. Sorry. Like
I know. And that's what I was like. 2 minutes. They're like, it's like, okay, nobody get in any trouble. We're here just to scout it out, and when we find Claw, we take him down, all quietly. She's like, no, that white dude saw me. I'm gonna go fuck some shit up.
Yeah. Weird that this like 5'10" black woman got any second looks in what was it, like Busan, South Korea?
Yes, I was like, oh my god, come on.
Getting a 5'10" black woman, they'd all be like, oh, they'd be mesmerized.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
well,
she'd be taller than most of the dudes.
Yeah, almost all of them. Yeah. Oh my god. Well, and then can we like briefly, while we're talking about the scenes in South Korea, like I was really disappointed that there wasn't more K-pop in there. Like that was an opportunity that was missed.
Yeah. They started playing one K-pop song, didn't they? Yeah. Right when they enter the city or whatever.
And I was like, oh, here we go. And then they like cut it off, and I was like, what? What is happening? Why?
They had to play Kendrick Lamar.
That whole, yeah. We'll get to the soundtrack in a minute because that thing is lit.
Oh,
but I was one of my nitpicks though. I was kind of upset that they didn't utilize Ulysses Claw more.
Like, he was fantastic.
I'm like, I love Andy Serkis. Like everything he does is magical, and I'm thinking his humor in the movie and he just played Claw as this insane, crazy guy. Like, I had my arm taken by Ultron, and I'm nuts, and I got tortured in Wakanda, and he just was. When he started talking about his, we got a new album dropping on SoundCloud. You want to hear it? And they tell this joke, and he's like, "No, really, we did. I got the track in the car."
Yeah, he's such a fun, like unhinged villain.
Yeah,
yeah.
But that chase scene, though, oh my god.
Ooh.
It's really good, and I really like the comic booky. I listened to another podcast. I don't want to, talk about that other podcast too much, but I listened to another podcast that criticized him having like the sound arm, and I'm like, that's what Claw's thing is. Like he has a
Yeah, did you not read any of the comics?
He has a big like gun arm that shoots sound at you.
I mean, my biggest problem, I was watching Avengers 2 recently, and Ultron just accidentally touches him and his arm falls off. And I was like, that was a really dumb way to get Claw's arm to be ripped off. But, we're here now. So I guess let's go. Let's keep going.
I remember watching that scene going, wasn't T'Chaka the one that took his arm? Like, that's how he lost it in a battle with the Black Panther?
Nope. It was just like Ultron being like, you gotta believe me, man. Oh, I accidentally ripped off your arm. Sorry.
Yeah, Ultron. I didn't recognize my own strength. I'm sorry.
My bad.
I forgot how fragile you humans are. I kept thinking of HK-47 from Star Wars. Knights of the Republic. Oh, this meat bag.
Right. Yeah, James Spader basically was HK-47. I'm a robot, so I don't have your human feelings, so I'm evil.
Like humans make other humans little people. I don't. What are they called? Children. That's it. I lost my words.
Yep. So that was fun. I really liked Claw. I hope, I have my fingers crossed that he'll be back in some form in one day as like a minor villain, because
he's pretty. I was thinking he's pretty dead.
Spoiler alert for the comics: Claw is seemingly killed in his first appearance, but the sound gun he made basically like sucks up his life essence. And so he's basically like the gun creates a sonic sound projection of himself with his like pink and purple outfit that people know him for.
Oh, so he's going to become a Spider-Man villain?
Yeah, so he's dead. Like basically as long as we've known him, he's dead. He's just like a little sound like projection.
I don't know, Chris. I don't think Andy Serkis can play a CGI character.
I don't think he's got that kind of range.
Yep.
Just don't think he can emote well enough,
Yeah. I think that'll be like a motion comic in like 2021. So stay tuned for that, I guess.
Why not? Marvel and Disney are just throwing them out at us. This is the 18th Marvel movie. We're planning to do like 30 of these things.
There have been 4 since May, with another 2 in the next 4 months.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I really haven't, I got to be honest with you, I haven't hated any of them. There's a couple where I'm like, it's all right.
Yeah.
Every time I go into, I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt.
No, go for it.
Oh, every time I go into like a Marvel movie, I feel bad because I like DC comics too. And I read DC, I've read them both. And I love the DC cartoons and the TV shows are fun to watch. So I don't go in like hating on DC movies. And I don't go in trying to be like a homer for Marvel. But every time I go in looking for a Marvel movie for something bad, like, I'm gonna find something that sucks totally. And every time I watch them, I'm like, damn it, these guys are really, really good at this. I am trying to find stuff to make this movie terrible, and they just nail it every time.
Well, like the one I'm most recently lukewarm on is Doctor Strange, because I find like most of the characters in the movie kind of boring. And I was telling Kimberly this, and she goes, "Yeah, but it's like visually really cool." And that final scene with Dormammu is still pretty cool. Like,
yeah, I really like that. Yeah, that third act of that movie is so good.
Oh, poor him! My God, his accent was terrible. I was like, really, dude?
Dormammu. I was like, could you get him to stop saying Dormammu, please?
Why don't you just write in him saying penguins for just for funsies?
Yeah. I am Stephen Strange. Let me tell you about rock music.
Rock music. Yeah. Speaking of bad accents, everybody in this movie has to do an accent. So Martin Freeman has to do an American accent.
I am from the American CIA.
Andy Serkis as a Brit, they're like, no, you got to do like an Afrikaner accent. You can't do your own.
South African? Okay.
I mean, for all I knew, that Gollum was his real voice, so I didn't know what his real voice sounded like.
Doesn't that surprise you though when you see like the movies and you hear the actors' voices and you're like, okay, you just automatically assume that they're that nationality. They do interviews and you're like, Since when was that dude British?
You know who the biggest shocker was for me on that kind of thing was Jason from True Blood. I really thought he was like a southern white dude.
Yeah, they're all Australian.
He was Australian in it. I was like,
Australian
what
show.
the fuck? Like, is this real?
Where did you get Australian? How did that happen? Yeah, it always blows my mind.
And since Chris, you just did that episode with 50 Shades, I feel like James Dornan like didn't even freaking try not to have an Irish accent that whole movie.
No, pretty bad.
Coming through my door. Yeah.
I'd like how since we're talking about accents, that all the actors, were playing the Wakandan characters. I think they pretty much nailed it as far as the accents go. Nothing sounded terrible. Like when you heard them talk and you're like, there's no one in Africa who talks like that at all. That is the worst. And I'm sitting there watching it as a black guy going, okay, you better not fuck this up, man. And it comes out, and I was like, okay, yeah, I believe it. That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
especially when a lot of those guys are English, and it's like, oh, yeah, I got to do an African accent. No problem.
Yeah, I can't tell exactly. I mean, I know there's South African or one of the South African languages is what Wakandan is. So I don't know if it's like the accent we associate, African accent of English having, because they got a little bit of it, but it's not, like the Kembe Mutombo level where you're hard.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
What did you just say?
No.
Can you put the subtitles on? I don't understand what that word means. But yeah, and I always like movies also where they create languages for like the movie or the show, like Lord of the Rings, Elvish, and it's a made up language and it actually has real basis. They did people that do language studies, they make up the language. And I was like, oh, they made up a whole language like Wakandan. That was dope, man.
Right.
Like, I wonder how much of the alphabet there really is, and how much of it can I learn it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's based on a real South African language. I don't know if it's exactly the same, but yeah, I mean, it's similar to. I mean, they borrowed a lot of different styles from African cultures, which I think is really cool because it's basically like, what if there was kind of this? We don't want to say exactly where it is, but it has elements of Nigeria, elements of South Africa, elements of Kenya, and what if they weren't, depleted of resources for 400 years? Yeah, what would that be like?
Yeah, I think that's part of the message of this movie is that this country, they just happened to luck out with this meteor hitting into their territory, and oh look, there's this alien metal. It can do everything and absorb energy and sound. We can turn it into technology and sell it and become insanely rich. And I think they secluded themselves, so when the other countries are being colonized and these poor people were being shipped off, into slavery, and their resources were being,
robbed and stolen
from them, and they were just dropped into third world poverty.
When diamond mines are being opened by what is it, De Beers or whatever it is, De Beers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, blood diamonds. It's We all get quiet.
Yeah, allegedly. I don't know.
We don't say things about De Beers here. They're a sponsor. Every kiss begins with K.
It's really cool. It reminds me a little bit. I mean, it's weird because Wakanda is one of 7 different lost civilizations that Jack Kirby made up. And I know Stan Lee, who's in this movie for 30 seconds or 10 seconds.
Yeah, I list him as Thirsty Gambler.
Yes, he appears in it, but it's a Jack Kirby idea, clearly, of lost civilizations. He had a million of them. He had the Eternals, the Inhumans, Wakanda, and they all have sort of ancient, futuristic blends. That's what he liked to do, very clearly.
Yeah.
But I think it's really cool the way the movie actually is well, what would this be like? If you actually think about it for a second, instead of just being this is basically a H. Rider Haggard novel at the Lost World or whatever, where it's what's this mystery place like? what would it be like if you actually thought about what would this civilization be like? I think that's really cool.
Yeah, because it was different than Asgard and it was different than Sakaar, but it was kind of like one of the Marvel like alien planets, but not really. It was really cool. But I love just again, I'm talking about the aesthetics. I love swords and sandals against laser guns. They're so cool to me. So I was feeling this movie. I love that.
Yeah, when they're in that chase scene and Okoye is like, guns, so barbaric.
Oh yeah.
Idiots. And she like takes out her spear and like fucks shit up. I was like, yeah.
She threw that spear and like it went to the car and it landed in the ground. I was like, oh, that's vibranium. That's not gonna go well. The car just goes and it just stops dead. You're like, oh yes. That was just
and I loved how Shuri was driving the car from like remotely. Like that was really cool. Like,
yeah, and again,
really
like
cool.
very James Bondy, right? Like, you know, like she's in the lab, like providing him tech support.
And I like how she has a key. You know, she's got all these tech gadgets that she's added to, T'Challa's suit, and he's just sitting there like absorbing bullets. Like, how do I get at this guy?
Yeah.
She's like, you've been absorbing bullets for like 20 minutes. Why don't you use them in that energy and unleash it? He's like, oh yeah, okay.
That's a
and
thing.
It is a thing. And he lands on the car and just, the thing just explodes.
I was trying to think of is that like that's such a video game mechanic, like a one mechanic video game, like an Atari game or like a Nintendo or an indie game. Have any games ever done that where you get shot and then you like release your kinetic energy?
I'm sure there have been. Can't
because it sounds like a badass. It sounds badass to use in a video game.
Oh, you know, if
like
they
an
make
indie
a
platformer
video game, that's going to be your move.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna have a meter that builds up. Oh, kinetic energy meter, and then as soon as it's full, you can unleash a,
like a Colossus X-Men arcade game move. Like,
Oh yeah. Love it.
or like a Cyclops optic blast or something.
Yeah.
No, not like that. Just like Colossus.
Just like Colossus.
That was always my character, Colossus.
Love
Yeah.
Colossus.
Again, to course correct other movies, Batman Returns, famously, Tim Burton was like, oh, I don't want to put Robin in this movie. I don't know how it's going to be a kid who's going to be doing stuff. It's like, this is what Robin should have done in Batman Returns. He should have been piloting the Batmobile when Penguin remote controls the Batmobile. In the movie already. They should have had Robin remote controlling stuff from the Batcave. This is so obvious.
And then then the Penguin steals it. That's been much better. Batman Returns would have been Batman Returns, famously a movie I don't like. I was on Chris's podcast, Your Stupid Minds, to talk about that. I think I got a lot of fan mail saying that I was wrong, but that's okay.
Yeah, a lot of controversial opinion. Some people like that movie, but I'm like, there's a lot of problems here. And one of them was the fact that they're like, oh, Robin can't be here. I'm like, if you have like 15-year-old Robin, just have him do what Shuri does, which is he's working from the sidelines without actually being in danger, although Shuri is in danger later.
Always excited. And always using.
I like how they questioned it in the movie. Like, you can't have a 15-year-old kid out there in the streets being in danger. But everyone that reads the comic is like, oh, Robin, yeah, he's cool. He's the same character. He's still 15.
Come on.
He's still out in the streets in danger. Well, I don't understand why it's different in the movie and the comic. If you're used to it in one, why not be used to it in the other?
Exactly.
Well, that's why they had to have Robin be portrayed as a gay adult man who is romantically interested in Batman Forever.
I love that movie.
Pretty much in Batman Forever, wasn't everyone just portraying everyone as gay? I mean, wasn't?
I think so.
That's the gayest movie
I think
there
that
is.
was going around.
I think George Clooney was like, yeah, I was playing Batman gay. I was like, well, yeah.
I mean, we could tell.
The bat nipples and the codpiece, I think.
That was Batman and Robin, but Batman Forever had Nicole
that's
Kidman.
how bad they were. I meshed them together.
With Dr. Chase Meridian.
Yeah, Batman Forever had Nicole Kidman, who had experience with gay men pretending to be straight. Allegedly. I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
So they catch Claw in this scene.
So they catch Claw and they're interviewing him. And one of my favorite things about this interview is when the CIA agent comes back from, questioning him and starts trying to tell everybody how things are going to go and like doing this. And I don't know why it caught me in a certain way, but it was like, here's this middle-aged white guy telling everybody here's what we need to do and here's the plan, and everybody was just ignoring him, and they were like, okay, we just don't listen to him. What he has to say is not important right now.
It was the standard middle-aged white guy move to mansplain
exactly
everyone in the room and to tell them, hey, look, this is the way it's going to be because I'm American. I'm from the CIA, and that's how we do things. So don't question me.
And I love it how they had like none of it.
They're like,
they had none of it.
Yeah, no, he's coming back with us.
Yeah, he's like, okay, I'm gonna be like the good cop, and then like 5 minutes, you're gonna come in and like, I don't know, yell at him or something. You figure it out.
And he gets in there and starts talking to Claw, and Claw's like, you don't know about Wakanda. He's like, oh yeah, like they're third world country. They export like coconuts or something, and he's like, no, man, they're technologically far ahead of everyone else. They have vibranium stores. It's like, yeah, well, they used all the vibranium they had. They only had he said some small amount. He's like, are you crazy? Man, they're sitting on like 10,000 tons of that stuff. And they ain't even scratched the surface. He's like, where are you getting your information? It's like, somewhere better than you, Claw's just like, you have no clue, guy. You're the clueless white guy in the movie.
You really think you know, don't you?
Yeah. And I like how they portrayed him as that's how, I guess Martin Freeman's character was supposed to be that window into, the audience's window into Wakanda and, seeing things from his perspective, where a lot of times it was, oh, they're going to portray him as the white savior, to save this proud black country. And it turns out they didn't need his help saving him.
At all.
He actually needed their help, and they were like, yeah, dude, we had to put you back together because you were all fucked up.
Yeah, that's pretty consistent with how his character is in the comics too.
Yeah, I like too that Andy Serkis. I mean, like he's being like a psychopath the whole scene. Like he's being really crazy, but at the same time, he's like, "Look at my arm, dude! Like I got this from Wakanda."
Like, where'd you get that arm? Come on, man.
Oh my god. Well, I like so that was like the first example of like Everett Ross trying to mansplain to everybody and people just like ignoring him, like and being like, no, we're not having this. Like, we're not gonna listen to you. And then the second time was when they got to what is his name? The other tribe that was like the only one in Wakanda that wasn't part of everybody else.
Jabari tribe.
The Jabari tribe. Yeah, so he gets in front of the
M'Baku.
Yeah, so M'Baku. So they get in front of M'Baku and the Jabari tribe, and he's like, okay, well, what needs to happen? And again, he tries to start, and they all just start barking until he shuts up. And I was like, can I just start doing that when guys start trying to explain shit to me?
He's like, woof, 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 and just barks at him.
It just made me so happy in such a weird way.
Now, what do you think?
Good stuff.
Like those flowers that I guess were the secret to Black Panther's power, and they had that whole garden. Do you think they would have harvested that stuff and made like stores of it just in case someone decides I'm going to burn it all down?
Yeah, like to have a backup plan.
So like, oh, he burned the garden. Yeah, he opens a fridge and there's like 1 million vials of it in there. Now we're set for the next 1,000 years. We're good.
Yeah. That's a really comic booky thing because, like, in the comics, anybody that tries to take the heart-shaped herb but is unworthy, it basically like rejects them.
Oh, so that's sort of like a nice built-in security.
Oh yeah. So do you think Black Panther could lift Thor's hammer?
For sure.
I think.
Maybe.
Will he be the one that does? I have to feel like. I mean, I guess Vision did it in Avengers 2, but it has to be like a moment, right? And the new one, I guess Thor doesn't even have a hammer at this point.
Not anymore, sadly. Force him out for Mjolnir, man.
I
Well,
think
maybe they'll
get
make
a
him.
new one.
You think he'll make a vibranium
Well, we went
hammer?
to that movie, and Bruce was sitting there, and he watched because he was all obsessed with Thor and like Thor's hammer, and he watched Hela just crush it. His little face was just like, what?
That's impossible.
Like he was destroyed.
No, I think in I guess Infinity War, no, his hammer's not going to be vibranium. It's gonna he's gonna have to go to like a forge or something and forge a new hammer out of Dwarf Star or whatever they make it out of.
Are those dwarves in the Marvel universe yet? The little drunk dwarf, Pip the dwarf. Is that his name?
Are there dwarves in that second movie? I feel like there might be. They go to like a Middle Earth world.
Well, there's gonna be because they've got dude from Game of Thrones in there. And they got I can't remember his name right now.
Oh, is he bringing the Sentinels to fight Thanos?
No, he's playing a different character. That'd be hilarious, though.
Peter Dinklage is in Infinity War?
He's supposed to be, yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, everyone is in Infinity War.
I was gonna say
aren't
it's gonna be so crazy. I'm gonna be so pissed off in like 6 months or 4 months or whatever that movie is. When 3 hours in, it's like to be continued, and I'm like, you bastards!
Oh, I'll
like,
have to wait
like 40 people in this movie.
And they're gonna there's like 5 of them are gonna get like a minute of screen time.
Yep.
The one character you want to see kick ass, they'll be like, Colossus, we need you to go to the store. Get us some beer. All right, we gotta prep for the mission here. And you never see him again the rest of the movie.
All right. Let's get this conversation on track here. I want to talk about the man-ape for a second, and then I want to talk about Michael B. Jordan. So, first
like
the man-ape, who they never call the man-ape. Fortunately, that would have been kind of bad.
I think Ta-Nehisi Coates was on there on a Daily Show, and Trevor Noah was asking him about Man-Ape, and Ta-Nehisi Coates was like, let's not talk about Man-Ape.
Let's not. Okay.
Oh yeah, no. I'm glad they were like, no. People who are familiar with the comic knew he was Man-Ape, but like, thank God they didn't go and call this king Man-Ape.
I know.
Yes. He's so good. He shows up to challenge T'Challa, and he loses. But like, it really does a good job to kind of set up pro wrestling analogies where he's the bad guy, but he's like the noble bad guy, where like he loses honorably. He's like, okay, like I don't like you, and we live in the mountains because we rejected the Black Panther. But you're all right. Like, you beat me fair and square, so that's okay.
Yeah, he has his turn from heel to hero moment.
Yeah.
But
he's like, I don't. Yeah, he's like, I don't like you, but I respect you.
Exactly.
Like begrudgingly.
Yeah.
But this movie, for some reason, like I don't know if it was just excitement or it was just really well done. I didn't see things coming. Like, I didn't see the Lord of the Rings moment coming where like, we asked for your help and you didn't show up until the climactic time in the movie when we needed your help and then you showed up. Like, I didn't see that coming for some reason. I don't know if anybody else did, but this was that he gave me a Lord of the Rings vibe there too. He was very cool.
Well, that whole battle was sort of a Lord of the Rings vibe with like the big rhinos, like the beasts, and it just being sort of like an epic battle. And then like Okoye standing in front of the rhino, like, and being like, "What?" And like the rhino comes to a grinding halt.
No, I love that moment because Okoye and who's the guy that was leading the tribe? W'Kabi. They were a couple, and she just like stands in front of him like pissed at him,
like stop,
like black woman mad at her man for screwing things up, and he's charging him with his rhino, and she stands in front, and the rhino stops, like
really?
Oh damn! Oh snap! I don't want to hit her, man. She's trouble. I'm afraid of her. And he's just like on the rhino, and he gets off, and she's just like gives him that look, like I am disappointed in you. He doesn't say anything.
We're gonna
she's
talk
like,
later.
You and me later.
We're gonna have some words.
Right now, I need you to surrender. He's like, you would kill me? Or Wakanda? Hell yeah. I was like, she's hard. Yeah. She's just gangster.
And he like immediately shut it down.
Yeah,
he was like, all right. That's what she said.
I'm not questioning my woman. She says what goes, and that's what goes.
I love her so much in this movie, and I know we need to get back on track and not talk about Avengers: Infinity War, but she is like in the second line on that trailer when like it's Captain America and Black Panther running up. She's right behind them. I'm like, that's right, Okoye. You're big enough for this.
Yeah, that is cool. But yeah, so then Michael B. Jordan comes into town and he has killed Claw. And this is pretty awesome. Like, he shows up and basically they're like, who is this guy? Like, what's going on? And Black Panther finds out what the deal is, and he's horrified.
Of course.
He's like, I don't approve of this. Like, my father, it's embarrassing that he murdered my uncle without a trial and then covered it up.
Like, and then abandoned this child?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
I was thinking about that, though, and not to bring up too many other Marvel movies, the other alternative was bringing Loki home and then raising him like your own, and then he resents you and then tries to kill you anyways. So really, there's no winning when you murder somebody's dad and then take their kid. You really there's no.
I think in this situation it would have been different because that kid is legit family. He's their blood.
Yes.
Whereas Loki was some ice elf child who was a little run of the litter that they were like felt bad for, and they're like, we'll just tell him.
So he always felt different.
We'll just tell him he's adopted, but that he's not like an ice, elf or anything.
But other people knew he was.
Oh, yeah, they were like, oh, yeah. Like when Thor was, he's trying to defend him. He's like, he killed 63 people. He's adopted, Well,
right.
You can't defend him 1 minute and then be like, well, yeah, he's kind of weird. The next doesn't.
Well, I mean, I feel like, Killmonger sets the tone where he shows, like, his first appearances in Wakanda is, here, I have the corpse of the person all of y'all have been trying to destroy for 30 fucking years. You're fucking welcome.
Yeah, I did what your boss, Black Panther, couldn't do.
Exactly.
So what?
But even then, it was like, we got really close with Claw, guys. Like, Wakabi, you don't need to be upset with me. Like, it's like, I thought you were going to be different than your dad. It's like, I fucking caught him, and some other dude showed up and stole him. Like, I was really close, guys. And in fact, the guy who stole him from me is the guy now you're want to report to. So, like, that's kind of unfair, I think.
It's true. Get Out guy is stupid in this movie.
Yeah, he's a plot. He's a character of convenience. He changes motivations and plot depending on what the plot needs from him. So you know, he's probably my only like major flaw with this movie. But other than that, I really like this movie.
Well, I think he's supposed to be kind of like he is, because like Lupita Nyong'o and like I think wants something different from Wakanda, and that Michael B. Jordan shows up and he's like, oh, he's offering something different. That's good.
Oh, I totally was hoping. I was kind of hoping, but kind of not. I don't know. When Killmonger showed up, I thought for sure him and Nakia were going to hit it off because she also has that like, no, we need to like get out of Wakanda. We need to share things. We need to like, so I really thought they were going to end up shipping, because they have, and they could like be a power couple.
Yeah,
I don't know. I was just hoping for it.
This movie didn't even have like a scene of like, it would have been interesting or more complex to have her be like, he's right. She could have said that to T'Challa in any scene. Like, a lot of what he's saying is right. Instead, like his super leftist views like become like, well, they're villainous and he deserves to die for this. But I would have really liked like to have her either like team up with him or like be that kind of mediator to like help T'Challa like get on his journey a little more.
Maybe I just like identified too much with Nakia and I was like hoping that she would have these like two men who are both like powerful leaders like after her and she has to choose between them. I had this whole like fantasy.
Are you on Team Eric or Team T'Challa?
I don't know.
He's Eric Northman. You want those dad boys.
I need to see them shirtless again.
I mean, like, ideologically, I feel like I'm more on Killmonger's side, but
yeah, I am too.
Like I said, I was rooting for Eric Killmonger. I think he was right. I mean, I can't deny that.
Are you gonna have like a
he used?
Yeah, he's exactly like Magneto, where he's like 90% of the way. You're like, yeah, he's right, and then he's like,
and then he gets to the part where it's about genocide and
we're gonna
take over the world and murder everyone else who doesn't believe in what we believe in.
It's like, okay, too far.
Yeah.
Walk it back just like 10 steps.
Or you're like, yes, no, we can't be on that last one.
Yeah, so I do love that scene though because Killmonger, we know that he is Wakandan at this point, but no one other than Black Panther knows because Forest Whitaker told him, he's like, I'm not allowed to tell your father swore me to secrecy. And he's like, look, I'm your king. Like, I'm Black Panther. You got to tell me. So he tells him what happened. So he's horrified. So he knows who this guy is when he shows up with Claw dead. And he's like, ask me who I am. And Shuri is like, I know who you are. Like, you're an American citizen who's trained with the CIA. You're a supervillain, basically, and like a mercenary, and you're shitty. And he's like, no, that's not who I am. Ask me who I am.
Yeah, tell him my name. What's my name? I was like,
Seems so good.
Well, and then he just looks up and he's like, "Hey, Auntie," and it's like, "Oh,
yeah."
Black Panther is like, nobody ask him. Nobody ask him.
Shut up.
Just pay him and he'll leave.
Don't show him your lip, man. Just don't do the lip thing, man. I can save this. If you don't, he just like pulls his lip down. And you're like, oh snap! And everyone in the room was like, what?
He starts speaking in Wakandan. He shows that he is Wakandan and that he is the son of the lost, brother. And it's like, oh, shit.
He's got the ring. He's got all the stuff. He's authentic.
My question is, okay, he eventually kills Claw, takes him back to Wakanda, and turns him in as a trophy to get, I guess an audience with the king so he can challenge him. Well, if he was, had a dead by birthright from the beginning, why didn't he just go there from the start and challenge him? Why didn't he challenge T'Chaka? Like, he's a fat old man. I could kick his ass.
Exactly.
It'd be a lot easier.
Because he's American trained that you go at the time of a death of a monarch to destabilize a country.
Oh.
Right.
Plot point. Okay.
He's got a shock doctrine out there and wait for a moment of crisis to step in and change all the norms.
Yeah. Well, and people were already upset with T'Challa, so that like rolling up like I bring you a prize. Suddenly, like half the country's already on his side, so that's pretty good, as opposed to the whole country being like, "Oh fuck, what did we do?" Like he did appeal to certain people in the country. I'm on
exactly. Board. I mean, Get Out guy is stupid, but at the same time, he's like, "Well, he just did what you didn't do, and everything he's saying makes sense to me."
Yeah, he's effective. Like, come on, this is what I wanted. Yeah.
I'm watching it going, of course he's effective. He's a Navy SEAL. Dude's dope. He's trained. And Martin Freeman's like Agent Ross. Oh, he's not Wakandan. He's one of ours. Like, no, I don't think you still are missing the big picture here.
Well, and I really liked sort of the tension between, Killmonger and Black Panther, where, Killmonger's basically like, you had everything handed to you. Like, you lived this, like, very charmed life while I was out there suffering, and it was wrong. And, like, I was suffering because of what your dad did. And, like, you sit on this throne and you've gotten all these things and you are who you are because of the shitty thing that happened to me. And I feel like that just, like, adds a lot of depth to their, like, tension.
So much.
So, like, yeah, if things had slightly been different, they would have been like bonded close cousins kind of deal.
Yeah, they could have been like brothers in arms and like, like fighting side by side and like, yeah.
And that's what I was kind of hoping for at the end of the movie, that they would like be brothers and
together,
team.
yeah.
And it's like,
Oh,
no,
yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but that's the problem with the Marvel movies is that the villain, they always kill them. I mean,
the alternative though was doing like what they did with Magneto in X-Men 3, where it's like now I'm on Magneto's side, and he's like, actually, I'm just going to be a bad guy again. And I'm like, you lost all your character development. So
I guess in the comics, it's easier to just have them come up with a new nefarious plot to take over the universe, and then the hero stop them, and he puts them in jail again, and they escape, because it's the cyclical nature of comics. Whereas movies, you can't have, Captain America 7, where, Red Skull is still trying to, like, take over the world. You're like, really, guy? Come on. You just kill this guy
again?
Yeah, and you can't like logically like cure all of poverty and race relations in the world. Like you can't do that in the movie universe and expect like that's supposed to reflect like your reality. Like you can't have these things where like let's cure cancer. It's like, well, not really, because that kind of like messes with our plots and our reality of our world. So I guess Killmonger can't live and see his dreams come to fruition. Bummer. I really liked Killmonger. I bought his little Lego minifig because he was so cute with his little antelope head. He's really cute.
Oh yeah,
I'm just feeling it.
Yeah, is that
was awesome.
too? He's like, no, I'm just feeling it.
You're like,
and Chris, that's his traditional costume, or one of his traditional costumes in the comics, isn't it? That antelope head.
Yeah, he had. I forgot if it's exactly the antelope head, but yeah, he had like an African mask pretty early on.
Yeah,
as like his thing. What's interesting, to kind of take a slight digression, in the comics, T'Chaka and Claw, he blames for his dad's death. And so he is born outside of Wakanda and is allowed to come in and then becomes like a super reactionary, like we should stop, like letting immigrants in, like a Ted Cruz type.
Yeah.
Where even though he is an immigrant, he's like, I hate this.
We shouldn't let any immigrants in except for me. Yeah.
That's what Killmonger in the comics is like, and so it's very interesting that they actually made him 1,000% more sympathetic. Like he's just a shitheel in the comics. Like there's no question but that he's wrong, and so they definitely made it so you're like, wow, that's interesting. Like he makes some good points. At the same time, he is like, we're gonna give like laser weapons to all of our agents, and they're gonna like start armed uprising. We're gonna have like 10 9/11s. You're like, what? Like, what is this going to achieve? They're just going to nuke you.
Well, I mean, if they're all vibranium, couldn't they survive a nuclear bomb? I mean,
maybe.
But they'd all be good guys with guns, which, is a very good plan.
We all know that works really well. Good guys with guns. Stop bad guys with guns.
Clearly.
Yeah, well, maybe if the good guys had like a vibranium-powered rhinoceros.
See, that's the key right there. It's wildlife, really. You need to have giant wildlife.
But yeah, that's the movie. I think we've covered most of it. There's the last big fight, which I don't know. That's kind of the least interesting part of most Marvel movies for me. I don't know.
This one works pretty well.
I liked the design of that they had like the cloth that turned into the shield. It was like an invisible shield that came out of the cloth. I thought that was really cool. I was like, that's a really interesting.
I think I'm sure we're gonna see like the Black Panther suit, how it just kind of formed like out of nanites or whatever. I think they're going to get that technology, and Tony Stark's going to use that to make his bleeding edge suit in the Infinity War. He's just gonna be like, "Where'd you get that? Did you make that? Oh my god, can I have that?"
Oh, see, now I am like totally excited about seeing Tony Stark like geek out over all of the vibranium.
Oh yeah, he's going to go to Wakanda and be like, "Where did you guys get all this stuff?" That we've had.
Like, I want to see scenes between him and Shuri, like where she's like teaching him all this technology stuff.
I want to see scenes between him and T'Challa, where Tony's talking about, "Yeah, I'm a philanthropist. I'm rich. I'm worth this much." He's like, "Only?"
Yeah.
That's it.
I did like how the movie ended exactly like Iron Man 1 ended, with the press conference. It's like, "So what's up here?" And it was like, "Oh, let me tell you. I'm Iron Man. I'm Black Panther."
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think Wakanda could do for us? You're like a third world country. And they just look at each other like, yeah. You wait and see.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Marselles, I'm going to blow your mind right now. I did take this from another podcast. I heard this. But so can you think of another movie that has 3 fronts where there's a space battle with just one single fighter out shooting down ships? There's also on the ground a whole army fighting. And in the air ducts below ground, there's just the main good guy and the main bad guy fighting. And is it episode 1? Because that's exactly what episode 1 ending was.
Oh, God.
Wow.
It's like they did episode
Mind
1's
blown.
episode 1's entire final battle sequence was Black Panther and done so much better. So
Way better because they didn't have a child with bad acting abilities.
no, they just had a
Trying to make me believe you can fly a starship.
They just had a great British actor doing a questionable American accent. Instead,
They didn't have one cartoon doing like a Caribbean accent.
Yeah, they didn't have one guy show up all doing a Jamaican accent, all weird. Hey, I came to Wakanda, man, to help out. Hey, you're like,
throw the blue balls at him.
do this. Yeah. Do the thing like Ryu from the Street Fighter, man.
Oh my god. Well, and we've got to mention before we get off Eric Killmonger's final words, and he was looking over the sunset, and like Black Panther took him to look over the sunset because he was like, my dad always they had this moment of connection where he was like, I came here, my dad always said I could see this and now I'm going to die. And Black Panther took him to see the sunset. And then he, said, we can heal you. You can stay. We could do whatever. And he's like, fuck that. Like, I refuse to be in chains. I refuse this. And, he had to call back to slavery and just and it was like, like it was a lot.
Yeah, I'd rather, jump and drown like my ancestors than live a life in slavery. I was like,
leave a life in bonds, man.
That's deep, man.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
I was like, oh,
gotta be right in the field.
Yes.
Yeah,
cut.
And then of course we all sit through the credits to wait for the post credit scene, and you got the one at the UN, and then one after that with Bucky. They call him White Wolf.
You're the broken white man.
Yeah, see, that's when Shuri said that line earlier in the movie. I was like, oh man, oh yeah, post credit Bucky. What's up? He's gonna show up. And other people were sitting next to me like, another white man? What other white man? And I was like, did you not see Civil War? Did you not know what's going on?
Pay attention.
Yeah, and then of course he comes out of the hut. He's in his garb and he's missing his arm, and everyone in the theater's like, yeah! They're like, there's a white dude, yeah! Everyone's excited. All these black people, there's a white guy, yeah! I was all like, somebody get that man an arm.
I hope he gets Claw's arm. I hope they give him Claw's arm.
He's gonna have some sweet vibranium golden snazzy arm. It's gonna be all pimping.
It'd be sweet.
He's gonna have like a stereo system in it.
It's gonna play exclusively Kendrick Lamar.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
He's gonna be like, man, y'all soundtrack is lit. What's up?
The soundtrack is incredible.
Oh, it's really good.
Shit.
So this movie's got like 3 Oscars in the bag, right? Like it's definitely got like best original song. It's definitely got costume design, and I would say production design. This production design was really cool. Like, but costume design definitely and original song. Like I'm already calling it this right now. Black Panther's winning.
I mean, it'd be awesome if it did. I think it'll be nominated for all of those. I don't know if it'll win all of them.
God, its costume design was so good.
Really
Angela
good.
Bassett's earrings at the beginning when she first met him, I was like, oh shit, these earrings are amazing. I love it. I love everything.
Can we talk about like how Angela Bassett was the exact perfect fit for like a queen mother? Like
Angela
she
Bassett's
is
the
a
perfect
queen
fit
mother.
for everything she does.
I mean, true that.
American Horror Story
Angela
season
Bassett.
6, perfect. Exactly.
I love to. We skipped over the scene. I love that scene where she offers M'Baku the heart-shaped herb, and she's like, "Look, you're the only one who can do this. Like, we need somebody to go out there and fight Michael B. Jordan, and I guess it's got to be you."
Yeah.
And like, that's a great scene because she doesn't love this guy. She's just like, "Look, I don't know who else it is. It's literally just you. You're the only person."
You're our last option.
And then I liked how he was like, yeah, but let me show you something first. And then what? And then you find out T'Challa's alive. Because I thought he was going to take the herb. And I was like, well, how are they going to
Where's
bring
this going?
T'Challa back? What's going to happen? And they show him he's alive. You're like, wow. All right. I mean, he did the right thing. How about that? But I did like that this movie, was black cast, black director, black writer, black soundtrack, artist, everything. And it was wonderful. It was one of the first movies I can remember where it was enjoyable and it was black centric and it wasn't about oppression, slavery, or gang banging in LA or people just portraying us in the worst light possible.
Yeah. I mean, like, Spike Lee is fun and all, but yeah, like, it's a movie that's not set in like 1990 New York.
Yeah,
cool.
Spike Lee is fun and all, but Spike Lee plays on those black stereotypes and he tries to make it into a message, but it's always the same. It's a strife, it's ghetto strife, and here was nice to see. They're black people, but they're living a regular life, and they're technologically advanced, and they're intelligent, and they just live like regular people. There's no ulterior motive. They're all gonna be a spontaneous shootout in the middle of the streets, like phone check, homie, and then they're holding their gat sideways or anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, thank you for showing a positive portrayal of African Americans, Afrocentric people in the movies.
Yeah.
And then it made a
Appreciate
fuck
that so
ton of
much.
money. Like it flew
So
in
it's
the
like,
face
look
of
at what happens when you allow, when you give the space, when this, you know what I mean? Like when people make creative, and like similar to Wonder Woman, right? Like you get a woman director, you get the Amazon, amazing things happen when there's more representation, in media.
Yeah, with Wonder Woman, they're like, well, no woman has ever made like X amount of money. And it was like, well, that's because you don't give any of them fucking $200 million budgets. And when they do,
I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's not, I mean, it's, when I was in, I think I was in high school still, but I worked for a place where I was mostly working with black people. And so like, I'd be like, hey, did y'all see any movies last week? And it's like, I saw Minority Report. And they're like, yeah, I just saw Joanna Man. It was hilarious. And it's just like, if you have a Will Smith movie, then it's like, we'll all see that. It's like, it's obvious.
yeah, well, like, I mean, like,
Because like Will Smith is the acceptable black person for like white culture. Like
exactly.
he's just black enough, but not dangerously scary black.
and he's surrounded by
He's like
Tommy Lee
Denzel
Jones and
Washington.
Rip Torn, and we love them, so it's okay. And silly
Yeah,
aliens.
it's exactly. It's why Denzel and like Will Smith is because white people will go and see their movies. But at the same time, they have an audience of people that like go and see literally like every movie that'll have a black cast. Like it'll make money.
Well, I was just,
And-
it was like,
And so like Marvel movies aren't representing this whole audience that's just like, no, I didn't see any of those movies.
yeah, and I mean,
Dude,
it just blew my mind. It made more money in its opening weekend than any other movie in the MCU other than Avengers 1. Like that blows my mind. I was expecting, like it to be like Ant-Man level or, anybody else's like first movie level. And it's like, no, you market a movie well, it looks good, you make a good movie, everybody will fucking come out to see it. Like $192 million worth of people. It blew my mind. I love it.
Yeah, it's above 500 million worldwide now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
barreling towards $1 billion really quickly.
Yeah,
That's awesome. And it's
Well,
you know,
and I go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and I was really excited to see also like that a lot of cities all over, at least the United States, I don't know if it's over the world though, are doing the Black Panther challenge where they are trying to get people to give donations to fund private screenings for, largely African American, low income youth to go see this movie, to see superheroes that look like them, that talk like them, like that how important that is and how formative that is, right? And so I was really excited that the city that I live in, like city of San Antonio, they were able to fundraise and they got it done, and it's happening this weekend. They're doing a private screening for the entire East Side Boys and Girls Club at Alamo Drafthouse, and they're going to have cosplayers, and they're going to have popcorn, and they're going to have like all this cool stuff. So I was so excited that happened.
That's amazing.
That's so cool.
Love it.
Yeah, I mean it's so there's been a little bit of pushback, but ideally, I mean, how many fucking movies are there where it's 100% white cast and it's 100% white, directed, shot, basically everybody the whole way through. And even like I like Christopher Nolan, I think he's a very good director, but like stuff like Dunkirk, he'll take out minority characters and just have white guys, like
yeah.
And so
it was England in 1940.
No, but still, to make it more white than it was, it's crazy. Like,
yeah, that National Lampoon's movie just did that on Netflix. They're like, well, there were black people here, but we just decided not to cast them, and that's a joke in the movie.
I like how they made a joke out of it. Like there was a disclaimer that you paused it and read it all. Like this person was black, but we know it. They didn't. We just cut them out because we didn't have time. You're like,
but they cast Chris Redd, who's fucking funny, and I'm like, he was in that scene. I'm like, you could have put him in the movie. He was fine.
It's like him. I watched a lot of YouTube videos and they talk about the 10 worst cases for whitewashing in Hollywood, where they'll literally take characters who like it'll be based on a true story that are Asian or black and they'll make them
Emma Stone.
Are you freaking
Emma Stone? You're like, she's supposed to be Japanese American. What? No. With freckles and red hair? No. That is genetically impossible. That is not going to happen. That'd be like seeing a black person with blue eyes and blonde hair that's not like dyed, like actual genetic. No. I don't care how much race mixing there was. No, man.
It's not possible. Well, and then one of my friends had posted something on Facebook, about, because, a lot of people are going to the opening, the opening weekend, they were dressing up, they were all in costume, everything was Wakanda Forever. It was like a big show. And, there was a lot of stuff being posted, and my friend posted something that I was like, oh my God. And it was like, a lot of people are, saying, why does everybody have to go do the most for, Black Panther or whatever? And they said, this is not actually doing the most. This is just cosplay. And it's the first time that we've had a chance to do cosplay at this level.
Was that guy Kev on stage?
Yes.
Yeah, he's like, look, black people like doing the most. It's what we do.
Yeah.
We put hot sauce on the food, more flavor. We're the most people. Why do you got to have a problem with us being the most? Just let it be, He went in this rant. It was hilarious.
It was great.
Just let people go and enjoy the damn movie.
But it was like, it just hit me that it's like, all the people who go and cosplay as Harry Potter or, Thor or whatever, like, like this is the same thing, like this is the first opportunity some people have had to do like cool cosplay.
I just don't understand why people want to prevent other people from
enjoying
the same things that they just take for granted and have access to. Like of all these movies, these superhero movies, all these movies that have come out, 95% of them have been Caucasian dudes that that are you relate to because you're like a white guy.
I look like Peter Parker, Captain America, and Thor.
Exactly. I mean, they
you
said,
do, Vince. I only look like Loki and who are the other bad guys?
Yeah,
I saw there. Somebody said.
I guess I look like Bucky, maybe.
No, just those skinny mustache twirlers. Batman, Spider-Man.
I gained like 50 pounds of muscle, I think.
Yeah, I look like this. I look like.
Best I could do is like Forest Whitaker with the lazy eye. He's not even a superhero. He's just. I look like Shaft. I'm not even that cool.
I look like the Scarecrow in Batman Begins, and I guess the third one too.
Like I saw someone, I guess it was Twitter. People on Twitter are horrible. They were talking about, what if we made a movie where it was country was like white nationalism, and the guy, and he ends up being the king, and they call him White Panther. And someone goes, yeah, they did do that. It was called Thor. They made 3 of those.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah, where there's one black guy and people complained about it.
Yeah, there are no black Vikings. Just like 1, they're fucking space aliens. 2, it's Idris Elba. He's really hot. Like, let it happen.
And he's English,
And
so
he's British. Yeah, exactly. Come on.
I think a lot of the comic audience, people who read the comic books, were so used to seeing it one way for so long that they just have trouble adapting to change and making, seeing things, seeing their entertainment reflect the world at large.
Yeah. And I think it's important, like it really is. When I was a kid, to go back to the comics for a second, I read New Warriors when I was like 10 or 11 years old. And I was like, why is Night Thrasher so mad all the time? Like, he's a superhero. Like, it seems like he's got it made in a bunch of ways. And it's like he's basically like Batman, like teenage Batman. If you don't know who Night Thrasher is, he was Batman with a skateboard who was black, but like he had to deal with racism because it was 1990s America, and like Batman, if he was black, he would have to deal with a bunch of shit that he doesn't have to deal with. Where like he has basically every black guy he fights is like, you're a race traitor, and every white guy he fights is like, you're worse than me because of your race. And it's like, well, yeah, I'd be pissed off too, like, and it makes you think about it in a way where it's like, yeah, that's not my experience. Like, I don't have people every day being like, you're a sellout because you're smart. Yeah. Like nobody is telling you like, you can't be this way.
Damn, Chris. That's with reality.
The realness.
But nobody.
No, you're right.
You appreciate a perspective beyond yourself, and you're like, that's true. Like nobody ever is like, hey, like quit acting so smart. Like it doesn't happen if you go to. I mean, and I went mostly to public schools, but when I moved to Texas, they were nice public schools. Nobody was like, stop being so smart.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the public schools I went to, they were like, hey, dog, why you got to be so smart? You're a brainiac, dude. What's up with you, smart, eh?
Yeah, you a nerd.
Well, it's better than being an idiot.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the reality for a lot of people. Is like, you're like, why are you trying to be so smart?
You selling out, dog? You ain't like us. You're like, well, no, because I'm trying to, come up in the world. I don't want to live in poverty the rest of my life and be poor and uneducated. That's not fun.
No.
Right.
I want to meet Stan Lee.
Right, and when you
when
you hear it from both sides, when you hear it from like I said, the people who when Black Panther, when he goes and like fights bad guys who are like happen to be his race, they're like, oh, I don't like you.
It's like, I'm not kicking your ass because you're black. I'm kicking your ass because you're doing wrong shit.
Exactly.
You're a criminal, man. I'm the law. I just have to do it.
Yeah, nobody gives Batman shit over this, Nobody's like, it's because I'm a different race, isn't it, Batman?
They're like, thank you, white savior Batman, for saving us from the crazy people. And then no one thinks about it. Like, you think about Batman, like, he's insane. He's a crazy person in a costume, flying around on rooftops with gadgets, beating the crap out of people. And everyone's like, oh, well, he's
beating the crap out of poor people.
Okay. Yeah, poor people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This bored playboy billionaire
Yeah,
who's like, I don't get enough jollies being rich and just chilling. I gotta go beat up poor people.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my money to make gadgets and kick a lot of ass.
Which I loved at the end of, like Black Panther, that he was like, and of course he, to win over Nakia also probably was like, I'm going to take this building that was, where, my cousin lived, and turn it into something good and make something good out of it. And,
the Black Panther
he's
Center
going to come
for
teach
kids who can't
people.
read
So I was
good.
like, oh, yay!
Yeah, the social worker in you was like, yes.
Yeah, make it happen.
Yes.
Enacting
Yeah.
social
They're gonna
change.
They're gonna have so much grant money.
Exactly.
Man, the people I'm gonna hire, oh my god. Yeah, when she was like, you bought this building? He's like, yeah, and that one.
And that one.
Yeah, and that one. And you're like, what? And I like how they land the ship and the kids immediately were like,
oh.
damn, dog, we just take it apart, man. We can sell this. You know? Like this hood kid, just like, man, I could turn this. We could strip this in like 10 minutes, man. We get this sold. Should make some dollars, bro. But I mean, that's the reality of it. That's exactly what they would
survival.
They would be like, dude, what is this? How can I take it apart and make some money off of it?
Right.
That's why cars disappear in the ghetto and never seen again.
Yeah. So yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome that there's a movie like this. I hope there's more. Obviously, because it was successful, they will make more.
Yeah, I'm very excited. We're taking Bruce this weekend to go see it. So it'll be exciting.
Awesome. Now, of course, I can't wait to see how DC responds to this. And they just made a movie about a black superhero, and it's gone gangbusters and made $1 billion. What are we gonna do, guys? Last movie we had a black superhero in was Justice League, and nobody even remembered that Cyborg was in the movie.
In it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they have the Teen Titans movie, I guess, but they don't really have. I don't think DC has like its fucking act together like that much. I think Aquaman comes out this year, which will probably be pretty good, and then I don't know what's from there. So
it's
are they gonna have a
guy of color
right
in his movie?
I love Jason Momoa.
Oh, he's great.
Are they gonna have Black Adam instead of being like Middle Eastern? Like, no, he's a black guy. They call him Black Adam.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's like,
no,
hey,
is The Rock playing Black Adam?
I know he talked about it. I don't know if he's actually will.
Yeah, they better hurry up though, because I mean, the way The Rock's going, he's not gonna be super swole forever.
I know.
Yeah.
I can't believe he's in Rampage, and I can't wait to see that movie.
See, I remember watching the Super Bowl, and he had another ad come out for another movie with
Skyscraper.
Yeah. I thought, I was like, another trailer for Rampage, and I'm like, Skyscraper, what the hell? And I'm watching it, and I'm going, oh, this is like Die Hard, but without Bruce Willis.
It's a remake of the Anna Nicole Smith Skyscraper.
It's like if somebody, I'm sure there was a lot.
Are y'all
of cocaine.
covering that, Chris?
We already have.
Oh, okay.
Anna Nicole Smith Skyscraper, available now. Your stupid minds. Die Hard, but with fake boobs.
Podcast,
Die Hard, but with fake boobs. Is that on the poster?
It's like some executive who's done a lot of cocaine was like, what if we took Die Hard and Towering Inferno and smashed them together? Who could we get for that movie? The Rock. Yeah, but he's in everything. Yeah, but here's the twist. This is what's going to really sell it. He's going to have an artificial foot.
Who could
Johnson,
The Rock be?
You're brilliant.
Who could The Rock be in like Black Panther 3? Like who? I don't know. I can't think of exactly who it would be. I don't know.
Maybe he could be Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic. Yeah.
You know what? Sadly, I don't think The Rock is black enough to be in Black Panther. They'll make fun of him how light skinned he is.
Yeah, exactly. He would be like some half white or half, Pacific or
like,
something.
Your mom's white. Shut up.
So we're talking about The Rock. We spent the last 20 minutes talking about The Rock, so maybe we need to start wrapping this up.
Yeah, I do think it would be awesome if they had a Chebe from the Christopher Priest first 12 issues or so in Black Panther 2.
Yeah,
because that character is so creepy and good. Like the fact that he makes a deal with the devil. He's got that creepy grin all the time. He looks like the Deep Space Nine villain.
Yeah, that'd be cool. We read that book, right? A while back now, the Christopher Priest run. It's pretty good. Although I like what the movie did a lot more with Everett Ross and the other characters more than this. So,
right, and the Dora Milaje do so much more in this movie.
Well, because the Dora Milaje aren't sexy 15-year-olds. That's actual quote from the book, which is super creepy. But
yeah, that's Everett Ross being like, these women are so hot.
Glad they aged them up to adult people.
Yeah.
And made him less
Well,
creepy.
and they were freaking amazing. Oh my God.
Oh, yeah.
That was powerful.
And the fact that, they didn't question the fact that the King's Guard were all women. It was like, that's just the way it was. They didn't question their abilities or their skills. They just said, look, they kick ass, they're trained, and they just happen to be women.
Yeah.
There's no big deal.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome movie. Just everything about it. Very awesome. Excited for the next movie. I'm not sure where it ranks in my ranking of Phase 3 movies. I really like Thor Ragnarok, but I don't know. Where do you guys feel on this in recent Marvel movies? I think they've been on a really strong kick lately.
Really strong, yeah. I would have to put it just just behind Thor Ragnarok, only because I like Thor Ragnarok. It had a ton of humor.
It was really funny.
And it was really funny, and it had my favorite character, the Hulk, in it. So, I mean, but Black Panther,
Bruce.
Basically, it's like Thor Ragnarok 1, Black Panther 1A kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bruce, come here. Talk right here. What was your favorite part of Thor Ragnarok?
Oh, now he gets quiet.
Yeah, I know. When what?
When the fire monster above that building, he accidentally cut the road.
He accidentally cut the road? That was your favorite part? Pretty cool.
And then Thor got a black eye.
Thor got a black eye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was more than a black eye, though.
What happened to Thor's hammer?
It broke it into small pieces.
Yeah.
Sure did.
That was rough, huh?
I like how we're recording here for all this time, and you see him running around in the background. Because you got the minute he gets on the microphone, like everyone else, you put on a microphone.
Yeah.
It's like they get in their face, and they're immediately just like
Frozen.
like the whole world is not watching and listening at this moment. Just talking to the microphone.
Yeah. Put him on the spot.
So
yeah, I didn't rank this movie. I would put this pretty near the top because I really like Killmonger as a villain. I think he's one of the best Marvel villains, like in the Marvel movies, like period.
Yeah, I originally put him below Loki. I may put him above it now, though. I'm thinking about it.
I'd put him above Loki, and hell, I'd put the Vulture above Loki. You know.
Ooh, that's definitely my top three is Loki, Vulture, and Vulture. I can't believe I'm saying that. And and Michael B. Jordan.
Well, isn't that Marvel's way to take characters that in the comics are just these tertiary, just BS characters and turn them into these characters you're like, I didn't believe I would care about a talking, walking tree. But here I am crying.
Yeah,
like a baby.
Guardians of the Galaxy when he's sacrificing himself. It's like, it's a damn tree.
That's the thing is like I keep thinking like, well, I mean, Iron Man's Iron Man, but the audience isn't going to stomach like Thor and Asgard. Like that's where it's going to fall off. And Guardians of the Galaxy with the talking raccoon and the talking tree, like that's definitely going to be where people are like, fuck this. Like I don't want anything to do with this. And like I'm very pleased that they just keep doing like crazier and crazier shit. It's just like doubling down on like what else can we do. I think I loved Black Panther. I thought it was really good. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
DC
it's
can't get you to care about Superman for crying out loud.
Oh. Henry Cavill is so hot, and I hate Superman. Like I could not get into Superman. Yeah.
Kept staring at that CGI lip, huh?
That mustache.
Hey, we saw a trailer for Mission Impossible Fallout. That $6 million mustache worth every penny.
Worth it.
Every
Worth
day.
it.
That man could go
Yep.
facial hair.
Yeah.
Chest hair.
And chest hair. Oh, boy, howdy. And on that note, I don't have a segue. Marcellus, tell us about what else
Yes.
you do.
What else do I do? Well, I am a podcast genius. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I have two other podcasts. One is the Blurred Nerds podcast that I do with my podcast partner a little bit, Jen Adams. We post every Saturday. We talk about nerd happenings and goings on in the world of entertainment, like movies, pop culture, TV shows, just general nerd news and culture, all that good stuff. And I also just started a new podcast with another friend of mine, Matthew Skinner, and we call that one the Pixl Gods. It is gaming centric, so we talk about games and spotlight on games, you know, history, urban myths, legends, you know, the game news of the day, and generally our rambling, incoherent thoughts. And that one posts on Mondays, so we just posted our 5th episode this past Monday. So we're still trying to get people to listen to that one. So please do.
Pixel Gods.
Pixl Gods.
And
PIXLGODS.
Oh,
Without
XL,
the E,
not...
'cause we're special.
Okay.
Yeah, because I tried putting Pixel with the E. Like I made a Twitter account and everything. I was like, I'm going to jump on this, get Twitter account. And somebody had already taken the other one. I was like, damn it. But wait, it'll be better without the E. It'll be the hook. Pixel. XL.
Nice. And
Yeah, no.
Chris, tell us a little bit about what your stupid minds is going on. I just listened to your 50 Shades Darker episode again because I just seen the movie finally, and y'all had me cracking up with your Michael Caine, Alfred telling the footprint story. And do you remember, Master Bruce, when there were only one set of footprints? It was then that I carried you. That cracked my shit up for a fucking week. I think it's so funny.
I'm gonna have to go listen to this now, man.
Their 50 Shades podcasts are fucking great. You don't have to see the movies, but I am gonna go see 50 Shades 3 before I listen to your next episode about that. I don't need spoilers. I don't need spoilers for the 50 Shades saga and movies that nothing happens in. But
yeah, Your Stupid Minds, we've been running for a long time. We've got 120 episodes or something like that. So we've been going for a while. We just did 50 Shades Freed, which was a lot of fun. Before that, we did Tanya Harding's movie Breakaway.
Yeah.
Which the Alamo Draft House showed as the pre-reel. It showed her scenes, which don't make any sense. That movie featured Joe Estevez from Mystery Science Theater fame. So that was a lot of fun. We've got basically if there's a movie on there that you think, oh, like I remember this movie, this might be fun to listen to people talk about. Check it out. If there's a movie where you're like, oh, I heard that was really bad, then give us a listen. And it's just a funny show where we make jokes about a movie, and you don't have to watch it if you don't want to.
And I don't want to watch some of those, but
the commentary on it makes it funnier. Where you're like, maybe I might one day watch that.
Yeah, exactly. It's so if you one day you do see, I don't even know, something obscure that we've done, Fateful Findings or another fine Neil Breen film, you'll be like, oh yeah, that movie about that insane person that Nick and Chris talked about for an hour and a half, saying how great it was.
Yeah, you met Tommy Wiseau before Disaster Artist.
I did. My Facebook photo since like 2011 has been Tommy Wiseau and me.
Awesome. And me and Chris also host Some of My Friends Read Comics with Kia. That's the show you're listening to right now. If you just jumped on for Black Panther, we covered the Christopher Priest run probably about a year ago. Actually, probably a year ago to the date for that. And next week, we're covering Black Panther and Storm Join the Fantastic Four, written by Dwayne McDuffie, R.I.P., from around the Civil War era. So that should be fun to check out. Kimberly, you got any plugs?
No, Melanie and I haven't started our podcast yet. We haven't decided what to call it. I still like White Wine in the Afternoon, but she's not down.
In making.
Yeah.
I want to hear the story.
Yeah, no, it's me and my best friend from middle school. She was my first friend when I moved to San Antonio, and she's like a CEO of a local tech company and super mom, and she's just really cool. And she's like the funniest person I know. She's freaking hilarious. And so we're going to do a podcast kind of just talking about general, like pop culture and happenings. And we're both sort of political junkies, so there might be some of that in there.
But it's going to be alcohol infused, right?
Oh, for sure. Of course.
Well, and on that note, thank y'all.
Me subscribe once you get that. Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much for listening to our Black Panther special. This is probably our double-sized episode, maybe even triple-sized episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you again next week. Thank you so much. Bye. I don't even want your congratulations. I recognize your false confidence and calculated promises all in your conversation. I hate people that feel entitled. Look at me crazy cause I ain't invite you. Oh, you important, you the moral to the story. You endorsing motherfucker.